Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are having a panel of successful candidates here who have succeeded in Prelims 2018, and we are going to discuss about Prelims preparation, especially for Prelims 2019. We are going to discuss various topics of Prelims preparation, starting from book list, starting from strategy, how to revise, how to attempt, what is the ideal ratio of attempt in the final examination, how to go about attempting, how to solve test series and all these kinds of things. So let's start with first question, which is most obvious question for all of these people. Everybody knows of the book list, but still everybody keeps asking what are the minimum resources that one should be reading. So I would like to throw the question to the panel member that what is the minimum book list subject wise that you should be referring, starting with all the subjects. For example, let's start with polity. For polity, what you would all recommend?
I think polity is Bible for Lakshmikant is Bible for polity, and I think with that, if we have any extra time, then we can refer to D.D. Basu or P.M. Bakshi for having a hindsight to all the articles as it is as the articles are written in the Constitution. We get a very deep insight about the articles, and I think polity is enough for that. Or we can also read 11th NCERT book, an introduction to polity.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything about polity?
I think more than reading Lakshmikant, for polity, one should at least solve like 300-400 good quality questions, because you can read Lakshmikant 10 times, but still you will have difficulty in solving difficult options. So for polity, supplement the study with good quality polity question. Even you can go through past years UPSC questions, and you will realize that reading only is not sufficient. You have to really have analytical skill even in polity, so that the confusing options can be eliminated.
Fellow panelists have already told that what book should be recommended. I would add one more thing, that when it comes to polity, practice is the key. How many questions you are practicing in a day? Suppose you are practicing for 1 week, then you are keeping a pause, then I won't be advising such practice. You should practice daily. Whether you pick any book, whether you are picking polity, which is an extensive book, you are doing NCERT, you should practice that book. You should practice the questions around that book. Suppose there are some questions that are direct questions, some are indirect questions. Now trend is shifting from direct to indirect questions. Now in polity we are seeing from past 2-3 years that indirect questions are being asked. So how to handle such indirect questions? Practice is the only key. And how to practice? You can pick test series of any coaching institute and keep on doing tests. It's not necessary that you do all the 100 tests in one sitting. You can take 20 tests in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and you can build this habit that you should have the habit of solving practice questions. If you are solving at least 10 to 20 practice questions, it will be more than enough.
I would like to add a single small point. Most of the points have been covered by the fellow selected candidates over here. The static part has already been discussed. I would like to talk about the current affairs part. It is also one of the most important aspects when it comes to the prelims question paper. So I think good coaching material, any coaching would do, some good coaching material for polity would add on to the static knowledge that we have gained while reading Lakshmikant or any other static book. That's all.
I think the annual policy review which comes of PRS, we should also refer to that, because sometimes questions are asked from the recent legislations which are being passed in the parliament. Like in 2016 there was question regarding Motor Vehicles Act. So if any new legislation is being introduced or is being passed, then PRS gives a very deep thought about that. So we should refer to that.
One more important thing is that whenever we are seeing any question of polity, we have to consider it very minutely. क्योंकि एक क्वेश्चन आता है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन के कुछ गाइडलाइंस हैं कि इलेक्शन कमिश्नर होता है, उसके कुछ क्राइटेरिया उसको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में दिए हैं कि नहीं दिए हैं. ये बहुत ही ज्यादा ट्रिकी क्वेश्चंस हो जाते हैं. तो मेरा मानना है कि जब भी आप पॉलिटी को पढ़ें, बहुत ही डीपली और ऑब्जेक्टिवली उसे पढ़ें, क्योंकि इसमें क्वेश्चंस आपके गलत होने के चांसेस बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं. लेकिन अगर आपके कॉन्सेप्ट्स अच्छे हैं तो क्वेश्चंस आपके 101% आपके ठीक होंगे.
I would like to suggest Lakshmikant and NCERT 11th class for polity. And what we can do is reading the current affair first and relating to the static part. What I have found is very, very good for this UPSC. And apart from that, practicing the previous year questions, that is very important. Because right now UPSC is interested in asking the intricate concepts that are not directly given. UPSC is asking the core concepts. If you are able to eliminate the core things, then you will be able to answer the questions correctly.
Okay, so many of the students' polity doubts might have been cleared after that. One thing to add by Deepak ji.
I want to add one thing. There is a general doubt among the aspirants that whether we have to read the bare articles of the Constitution or not, whether it is beneficial or it is time consuming. So I want to add one thing, that there are certain sections in the Constitution like fundamental rights, fundamental duties and direct principles of state policy. So bare reading of these articles is very beneficial. You will be able to eliminate like certain conditions are there, whether your fundamental rights are applicable or not. There are restrictions on the basis of morality, integrity of the nation. So bare reading of such parts is very necessary. But we can skip the bare reading of parts such as regarding to the languages, regarding to the president and the prime ministers. But when it comes to part 3, part 4, it's very necessary. So I would say that the doubt regarding whether bare article should be read or not, this comment will be helping you out in figuring out. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on from polity now, let's discuss about one of the most dreaded subjects for prelims in many of the aspirants' minds, that is history. So in history, modern history is there, which many aspirants are quite comfortable with, but many students are very much confused about exactly what to do in other parts of history like ancient and medieval and art and culture. So let's start with first ancient and medieval and art and culture. So what can be the best strategy to deal with such questions? Because every year we have been saying that around 5 to 6 questions at least are coming from this part, which is important once again for prelims preparation. So let's go about it.
I think for ancient history or art and culture, there is a vast ocean of knowledge which we can accumulate during our preparation. But we can, I think we should go beyond some things like NCERT R.S. Sharma is good for ancient history. And apart from that, we should give a reading to Lucent book, which has a portion regarding to ancient, medieval and modern. We can cover medieval history from Lucent itself. And ancient is also very good. And especially regarding the Buddhism and Jainism part, Lucent gives a very good knowledge about that. And I have seen that questions have continuously are coming from that part. So we should obviously give reading to that part of Lucent. And apart from that, the pink color book NCERT 11th class, an introduction to Indian art, that is also very good. And I don't think apart from that we should give reading to anything else, because the output ratio is very low in relation to art and culture. And apart from that, we can also give test series, and thereby we can check our knowledge or we can increase our knowledge base. So that's what I would like to say.
When it comes to history of ancient and medieval India, I will suggest that it is very vast, and you have to cover it not into separate branches. Like for prelims, you have to cover in means you have to go in one go that you have to cover your history. I would suggest that you should study a very good book by Upadhyay Singh. It's a very good book, and you can read it selectively. It will cover up your ancient and medieval India. It covers all these spiritual schools, Jainism and Buddhism very in detail. It's a very good book, and I suggest you should bifurcate your art and culture from history. You can go reading of history without an art and culture, and you can prepare art and culture separately. So as we are seeing from the past few years, the trend has been changing, and in the history itself, the questions are coming which are very difficult to solve, and many aspirants are facing this problem in prelims especially, that how to solve those questions which they do not have any access to the information. If information is not there, then how you will solve this question? So I would suggest, if you are stuck on such question in prelims examination on those 2 hours, you should skip such questions, because if it is a difficult question, it will be a difficult question for everyone. But don't go for a negative marking. Just skip the question if it is very extraordinary type and you have not read it. It's not that your preparation is lacking somewhere. It's just that question is difficult, and it is difficult for everyone.
Most of the things have again been covered, but I'm sure my fellow panel members would agree that although a lot of people read ancient history and medieval history, they are not able to revise it. When the prelims, when the when the time strikes. So I would recommend that there is a very good book of Tamil Nadu Board 11th and 12th class. For revision, one can refer to the 11th class book of Tamil Nadu Board, and I think that would help when it comes to a lot of revising in a very less time. Thank you.
Yeah, just few golden words. Read limited, but revise and re-revise. That's the key to ancient history.
I would like to suggest for art and culture only. I read Fine Arts 11th class book and 12th class book is also there for NCERT. I just followed these two books only for art and culture. Just need to re-revise again and again. Apart from going for Nitin Shaky or a lot of things, because there is a cost output ratio is very less.
I think all have given different book list, and I would suggest to the future aspirants that do not go beyond before every book which we are suggesting. Just choose two of them. I think CCRT is also good. You can give a reading to that, but choose only two things: either pink color book or Lucent or Tamil Nadu Board or CCRT or the 11th class NCERT RS Sharma or Upender Singh. So you can give reading to any two books of your choice, and that would be more than sufficient for that.
Right now, when we were looking at the history strategy, we came to know of the one fact that every aspirant who has been getting success is having a different strategy, and your strategy is also going to be the different one. But what is best according to you, you should be choosing that, whatever is suitable best to you, and you should be going with that with confidence, with having belief on yourself. So let's move ahead from topic-wise subjects now. So let's try to cover up the part where many of the students lack in last phase of preparation. Right now only 35-40 days are remaining for the next prelims, and students are expected to revise all the subjects thoroughly. So what should be the revision strategy of the students, or what was your revision strategy so that you could cover up all the vast subjects in short amount of time?
I think now since 40 or 45 odd days are left, so now I would suggest to future aspirants that I would suggest three things. First of all, multiple revision of all the sources which you have read. Now do not go before any new source, and if anyone is suggesting that you should read that book, then you should not go before that, and you should give the revision or multiple revision to all the books which you have read since today or till today. Or I would also suggest that give as many test series as you can. I had given around 120 tests of different coachings. I would suggest that give around at least around 100 tests, so that you would cover around 10,000 questions, and that would set your mind in a framework that you would be able to solve the multiple choice questions. And I would also suggest that when 10 days would be remaining for the examination, you should go for solving the previous 10-year papers of UPSC, and solve every day one paper of UPSC, the previous year paper. Like you should solve 2017 paper one day, then 16 paper another day, then 15, and you should go on like that. So that would set your mind in that framework, that how UPSC sets the questions and how they try to trick you in, or they try to mold you in their way. So I would suggest that go for multiple revision, as many test series as you can solve, and this previous year papers. And you should also supplement it with the test series. Like if you are solving the polity test or sectional test or full length test, then you should do like that. If you are today solving the polity paper in the evening, then in the day time you should revise the whole polity portion which you have studied. Like if Lakshmikant you have read, then you should revise Lakshmikant or any other classroom notes or any other current affairs material, and then you should go to before solving the papers. So I would suggest these four things.
For prelims, less than 40 days are left, and if I have to recommend a revision strategy, that Swapnil asked me that what should be the revision strategy for the last few days, I would suggest that you should go for those subjects in which you can gain more. For example, in economics, number of questions which will be coming from economics, international relations, environments, these are the subjects in polity that you can gain more. There is a very less chance of losing here, but you can lose more in subjects like modern India, in ancient history. So one can stop revising these subjects or can give lesser time. But if you have to be on front foot, then you can go for economics. It's a very dynamic subject, and you have a lot of current affairs to revise. When it comes to international relations, subject material is very less. You can gain more in international relations. More than 5 to 6 questions come every day or every year. And one more subject is geography. In geography, if you have a good command on mapping, if you have good command on the locations, the names of the rivers, names of all the physical landforms that we have in our country, and these particular subjects, in these particular subjects, you can score more. So strategy for the last few weeks should be gain more, lose less.
In prelims, there are some areas like modern India or polity where you know this is a sufficient book, and I should not mark wrong even one single question. So I would suggest that in last few days you should re-revise those books where you have confidence that nothing will become out of it. Means, for example, in current affair, you know there are monthly magazine or annual publication like PT 365 or others. You know, in polity section or environment section or IR section, no question, hardly, rarely any question will be asked out of it. So your revision strategy be to revise these type of sources where you are sure that your return on investment will be very high. You cannot revise something where you are not sure whether it is coming or not. Like in general science topic, there are many topics. You do not know. Some questions come like in every 10 years. You cannot revise that. But you should revise those portions where you are sure that UPSC definitely ask a question like river location, like hill ranges, like even in polity or something like that, where you can analyze previous 5-6 year question, and you can definitely point out these are the areas where definitely questions are coming out, and you should revise that, because your main aim should be do not incorrect any questions which majority of the candidates will do right. So you have just to get one mark more than the majority and you will sail off the cutoff. You should not unnecessarily focus your effort on areas which have very low probability of coming. So play a smart game and revise sections where you are sure that, like spectrum, you are sure that 9 or 10 question coming out of it. So revise that. Those 9-10 question can make a big difference.
I would like to talk about my strategy because I feel that specifically for the working professionals it would be helpful. Since I started my journey, I was always a working professional. So I used to divide my prelim strategy into 3 parts. The first one was the static books. The second one was the reading of the current affair booklets that were available in the market. And the third one was the solving the test series. The first two that I talked about, I used to focus a lot on them, and totally contradictory to what Pradeep said over here, I used to only solve around 12 to 15 papers, since we always had that constraint of time. So for the working professionals, I would want to emphasize on reading of the static books and the current affairs in these last days, and if possible, all the test papers that you have done, you need to revise the solutions of those. So this is what I would like to share about prelims.
Like as the Pradeep said that we need to consider what is the trend of questions in the last 10 years or 15 years. And Dharmadhikari sir also has published this book, UPSC Vijay Path. So it has questions from last 10 years and also explanations. So this can be a good choice to see the trend, what kind of questions UPSC asks and what kind of answers are expected from us.
Okay. So that was once again a prelim strategy. Here also we came to know that some people tend to solve more number of practice questions. They are good at that in a way, or their outcome is good after that. But some people prefer to revise more. So once again, we at Chanakya Mandal always emphasize that listen to all the toppers, but carve out your own path. Why? Because we insist on knowledge of the self. So once again, you have to analyze yourself, what are your strong areas, and accordingly you have to consider your preparation strategy. Also, we have one specific test, psychometric test, UPSC Gestalt test, that is designed by Bhushan Kelkar sir, which shows you how to revise. What is good strategy for individual people, individual student to revise, how to revise, and is it better for that particular student to solve more number of questions or read more number of material. So you should be basing your preparation on these kinds of results, and you should be taking the cues from the toppers as well. So moving on from that, so now when the days are, the people have revised, people have solved a number of questions, now students are getting ready for the preparation, and while solving the mock test, some are going to solve 10-12 mock tests, some are going to solve more than that. So while doing that, many a times we have observed that not solving only test series but reading explanation, analyzing your own mistakes in those tests is very important. So I just would like to hear from all these people in short that how you used to evaluate your performance in your practice tests and how it helped you.
Evaluation is very much important for us. Like if we are scoring somewhere around 50 to 60% in the tests, so we can expect a jump to up to 70 to 80% in the real test. But the thing is, जो हम लोग एक्चुअल में जो टेस्ट दे रहे हैं उसमें गलती कहाँ पे हो रही है? कई बार ये होता है कि एक पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक पे ही हमारी कंसिस्टेंटली गलती होती है. तो इसका मतलब कि हमने वो टॉपिक ढंग से नहीं पढ़ा हुआ, चाहे वो फंडामेंटल राइट्स का क्वेश्चन हो या डीपीएसपी का क्वेश्चन हो. कंसिस्टेंसी आप देखिए कि आप लगातार आप कहाँ पे गलत कर रहे हैं. वो आपका वीकेस्ट एरिया होगा, उसको पकड़िए, उसको सॉल्व करिए, उसकी जो भी डिफिकल्टीज है उसको आप उसको ठीक करिए. तो मेरे हिसाब से तो यही एक स्ट्रेटजी रहेगी.
मेरे हिसाब से जो टेस्ट सीरीज हम देते रहते हैं लगभग अब 120 के आसपास का स्कोर हम लेके चले मोस्टली. तो पिछले कई साल के ट्रेंड में यूपीएससी में 120 से तो नीचे ही रहा है कट ऑफ. तो अभी जिस तरह से रिसेंट ट्रेंड रहा है कि कट ऑफ अभी 98 पहुंच गई है जनरल कैटेगरी के लिए, तो मैं सजेस्ट ये करूंगा कि आप 120 के आसपास चलिए. मतलब एटलीस्ट 100 से 120 में नंबर आपके अगर अच्छे आ रहे हैं और जो वीक एरियाज आपके हैं तो बार बार उसको रिवाइज करिए और दोबारा से उस पर मेहनत करिए. और रिवीजन मतलब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. मतलब लास्ट टाइम्स में मतलब आप कुछ नया मत पढ़िए, जो आपने पढ़ा उसी को कंसोलिडेट करिए. और आई विल सजेस्ट दैट ओनली.
आई वुड लाइक टू से 3 थिंग्स. मैं 3 चीजें करता था. पहला ये कि मैं एक कोई भी अगर फुल लेंथ टेस्ट में दे रहा हूं तो उसका मैं एक इंडेक्स बनाता था, जिसमें हिस्ट्री, पॉलिटी, इकोनॉमी, ज्योग्राफी, साइंस, करंट अफेयर्स और एक और जो 7 टोटल सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं, तो 7 सब्जेक्ट्स का एक इंडेक्स बनाता था. और फुल लेंथ टेस्ट देने के बाद मैं उसमें देखता था कि मैंने कितना अटेम्प्ट किया और मेरा अटेम्प्ट टू करेक्ट रेशियो कितना है और किस सब्जेक्ट में मेरा अटेम्प्ट टू करेक्ट रेशियो अच्छा है. और फिर टोटल का भी मैं देखता था कि टोटल में मेरा कितना है. अगर मैं फुल लेंथ टेस्ट अराउंड 12 to 15 दे रहा हूं तो सब में मैं देखता था कि अटेम्प्ट टू करेक्ट रेशियो मेरा कितना है, उसका एवरेज देखता था मैं. तो मैंने देखा कि अगर मैं 90 अटेम्प्ट कर रहा हूं तो मेरे अराउंड 65 के ऊपर सही जा रहे हैं. तो इसलिए मेरा ये टारगेट भी था एक्चुअल एग्जाम में कि मैं 90 से ज्यादा अटेम्प्ट करूं, और वो स्ट्रेटेजी मेरे लिए काफी सक्सेसफुल भी रही. सेकंड ये कि एक आप ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में टेस्ट दें जिसमें आपके ऊपर एक ऐसा प्रेशर हो और ऐसा बर्डन हो कि हाँ हम एक्चुअल एनवायरनमेंट में पेपर सॉल्व कर रहे हैं. क्योंकि जब हम एक्चुअल उसमें जाते हैं एनवायरनमेंट में और ऐसी सराउंडिंग होती है हमारी, तो उसमें ऐसा बर्डन होता है तो हम कभी कभी मार्किंग भी गलत कर जाते हैं या फिर आंसर आते हुए भी हम दूसरा ऑप्शन मार्क कर देते हैं. तो एक एनवायरनमेंट होता है, एक इंडेक्स होता है. और तीसरी चीज ये कि अगर मैं किसी सेक्शनल टेस्ट में अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा हूँ, जैसे पॉलिटी में मैं स्ट्रांग हूँ और हर सेक्शनल टेस्ट में मुझे 100 में से 75 to 80 क्वेश्चंस मेरे सही जा रहे हैं, तो मैं सेक्शनल टेस्ट कम दूंगा. और अगर हिस्ट्री में मेरा थोड़ा वीक है तो हिस्ट्री के टेस्ट ज्यादा दूंगा. या फिर साइंस में जैसे कि अगर गेस वर्क ज्यादा होता है, साइंस में मैं गेस वर्क करने के लिए ज्यादा टेस्ट दूंगा. तो ये 3 चीजें ज्यादा ख्याल रखनी चाहिए. और चौथी चीज ये कि इसी के साथ में हमको ये भी एनालाइज करना चाहिए कि कौन कौन से क्वेश्चन इस साल पेपर में आ सकते हैं. जैसे लास्ट ईयर कोई रिवर से क्वेश्चन नहीं था, इसीलिए उनका जो सेकंड पार्ट होता है जो सवाना, टुंड्रा और उस टाइप का पार्ट होता है, उससे कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं था. लेकिन उसके प्रीवियस ईयर में हर साल ऐसे क्वेश्चन आए हैं. तो इस साल भी जैसे हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि रिवर और उस टाइप के क्वेश्चन इस बार आएंगे. तो ऐसा एनालाइज हमें करना चाहिए साथ साथ में प्रीवियस ईयर के पेपर्स देख के कि इस बार क्या नया ट्रेंड बन सकता है और किस पोर्शन से ज्यादा क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं. कभी हिस्ट्री ज्यादा जंप लेता है, कभी पॉलिटी ज्यादा जंप लेता है, एनवायरमेंट कॉन्स्टेंटली 17 to 18 क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं. तो वो भी प्रीवियस ईयर के सारे देखने चाहिए कि चार्ट आउट करके कि किस पोर्शन से ज्यादा क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं. तो ये 4-5 चीजें करें तो प्रीलिम्स कैन बी क्लियर्ड वेरी इजीली.
I would add one thing. Predicting a question paper is a very difficult thing to do, and when we are talking about evaluating yourself and you are evaluating yourself on the day-to-day basis, then how to maintain your confidence if you are not getting good marks in your practice test, and if you are getting good marks, then how to contain your overconfidence. So these 2 things are very necessary to talk about. Like if you are getting good marks and every good marks in your practice test, and you are having this feeling that you have very good command on your subjects, so I would give a word of caution to all of those, because every year each and every question of prelims examination paper 1 is a trendsetter, is a question that is unique to itself, and it cannot be predicted. You can predict the topic, but you cannot predict the question type of question they will ask from that topic, whether what kind of statement they can ask. Suppose we can predict that question can come from Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. So the question came, but no one was able to predict that they can make a statement on Club of Rome, because that part was not even given in any material. So don't get into this feeling of overconfidence. And if you're not getting good marks, so keep doing your hard work. Don't get carried away with the feeling that you are not getting good marks in practices. Just keep working. One thing I would like to add, because no, we have not talked about it, I think it may get skipped. Paper 2 of preliminary examination. Don't stop practicing. If you are not going to get required 1/3 marks, you will not be able to get. You will not be able to move forward, and your preparation will become all futile for that year. So, in the preparation of preliminary examination paper 1, don't forget to prepare for the CSET part. Focus. At least give 30% of your time in last 40 days on CSET, and rest all the panel members have commented on this.
I totally endorse what Pradeep has said. Means his first 3 points are really excellent. You have to analyze your test papers and know your weak areas and strong areas and work on that. And second thing, you should know that how much questions you should attempt so that you could clear the cutoff. But I must add something. First is that on the UPSC day, you do not know how tough paper UPSC can make and how easy the paper UPSC can make. And it is absolutely possible that next year, this time the cutoff may be 80 total marks or maybe 135 total marks. You do not have any idea. UPSC's cutoff range changes from by the difficulty level of the question. So you have to keep that mindset. You cannot go there with the mindset that you have to attempt 90 questions, you have to get 65 correct, and you have to score 115. Because paper may be so difficult that 80 could be the cutoff. So first thing, you always keep in the mind that you cannot go with a premeditated number of questions. What you can do after solving the paper, you should analyze that. See, if there are 100 questions, in 50 to 60 questions, you would have 90% confidence level, 95% confidence level. But for those 20 questions, next 20, 25 questions, you will always come across 2 options, and you would have to choose one out of them. And you cannot avoid that. You cannot come up the UPSC hall by doing just 50 questions, however tough the paper is. So you have to develop some type of intelligent elimination trick. And I can say this with confidence, one who scores prelim cutoff by high range, plus 20 cutoff, they do develop this kind of intelligent elimination. No one can score cutoff plus 20 only by memorizing, only by analyzing. You have to have that habit, and you can develop that by solving test series. Because when you solve test series, mark questions where you would have to choose 2 options, and see you are doing it correct or not after you see the answers. And then ask your brain, why did you choose option C or not D? Where was your brain going? For example, this question is fundamental right versus DPSP, some type of statement is written, and you got confused between 2 options. You have to ask your brain, why did you think this is correct or that is correct, and learn from your mistakes. Because without intelligent elimination, you cannot comfortably clear the prelim cutoff. So work on that aspect too.
I would say one thing, since I am a very keen quizzer and I am a quiz master as well, that after seeing a question, just think that which answer is coming in your mind first. Like you have seen the 4 options, and after seeing the 4 options, you should ask to your mind that which option is clicking in your mind, or which option is coming first in your mind as an answer, and mark that as an answer. And I would say that in 90% of the cases, that would be the answer. But you should be able to read your brain, that what your brain is saying. Like if your brain is saying C and you are marking D, then that would be wrong. So you can develop your this habit of solving the question in this way, and I think that would work. Do not overthink, and do not cut the answer after marking. Like if you have made your mind that you are going to mark C as the answer, now do not go before D if you are not very sure. C would be the answer.
Okay, great answer. Okay, to conclude the discussion, let me just ask the last question, that we have seen over the years, some of you might have also faced the situation that you are very well prepared for the prelims, but just before prelims, your confidence levels start to dip. And at the actual time of solving the question paper, if some first 5, 10, 15 questions are very difficult for you in that particular set, then how to maintain your calm and composure, and how to go all out for go all 2 hours, and how to give your best in those 2 hours. So I just want to like to motivate the students in every kind of situation. From the
here I would like to say 2 things. The first one that Brijesh was saying, that if it is difficult for me, then it would be difficult for everyone. And second thing, that if you are seeing that first 15 questions are very tough and you are not able to solve that, then I would say that go before solving all the questions from the previous pages. Like go on the last page and then start solving the paper. If you see that on that page also questions are coming tough, then start from the mid page. And if after that also you find it tough, then solve and guess as many as you can. You would clear the exam. Then it's really tough.
See, I will add my strategy on the layer which he has told. What you can do is to assess whether the question paper this year is very difficult or very easy. You can go with one reading. In one reading, you complete all those questions which you know will be right, which you know that the answer to this question is absolutely right. And you can count those questions. Suppose you are getting like 45 questions are absolutely right. So it means that cutoff will be like more than 55 or 60. So you can go for the second reading. In the second reading, you solve those questions which need some element of elimination, map work, quick thinking, overthinking, or anything. In second reading, you if are able to attempt like questions 70 to 75 questions, then you can make a rough guess that yes, paper is a little bit moderate or difficult or easy. So then you can make a educated guess on these subjects. But I would not advise you that whether you look the face of the other people or not, how they are performing or not, because sometimes it may happen that people near around you are full of anxiety for no reason, and you are very nervous for no reason, and paper is easy. So in that case, what would you do will be that okay, the paper is difficult, कोई नहीं, बाहर आके पता लगा पेपर बहुत आसान आया था. So I will not advise you कि आगे पीछे मत देखो, अपना पेपर करो.
First, I would add 2 points so that you don't become underconfident. First is that before 2016 prelims, 2 days before prelims, I solved a mock test. I scored 70s, and I started crying. I talked to a friend. He said, no, don't worry. And in the prelims, I scored 132 marks. So you cannot never correlate with your mock test and your actual UPSC. Second thing I want to point out, in 2017 prelims, I had nearly 15 days to study after the final result. But what I'm saying, when I opened the paper, out of 10 questions, I knew only 1 question. And the Kakatiya thing was like, oh my God, I have never heard this word. Right? And in this page, in 10 questions, I just knew 1 question. And I didn't get underconfident because I knew the question paper is very difficult. And still I scored good marks, like 120. But what I'm saying that, never worry about that first 10 questions are difficult. Now, I want to say how to focus on in those 2 hours. In those 2 hours, whenever you read a questions, on your mind only one thing should be there about those options and those questions. You should not think any other thing, not even what is happening in your surrounding, what is cut off, nothing. Just train your brain so that the brain can think only about that questions. And one more thing I want to add, what Deepak has said, you have to attempt, everyone does that, but for beginners, you have to attempt the paper in 2-3 rounds. And the first round, your confidence level should be 90 to 95%. Solve the paper. You will be able to solve 40 to 45 questions if you have sincerely prepared for the UPSC Prelim. Next round, you solve the question where you have confusion between 2 options and do with the confidence level of 65%. And add those. If you are over 70 to 75, you are definitely going to clear, but you still have to solve 5 to 10 more questions by using the intelligent guessing or something like that. Means you have to do the question paper in rounds so that you would have a clear idea whether the paper is tough, whether you are doing the correct attempt or not. And these could be developed using practicing the mock test papers.
According to me, more than what happens inside the hall, it is much more about what you have done before it. So I would advise that people should do variety of mock tests. For example, there are mock tests which are comparatively easier and there are mock tests which are comparatively difficult. I would advise to the candidates, to the fellow aspirants, that they need to do mock tests of every type. when the paper is easy, you would get to know, I'm talking about the mock test, when the paper is easy, you would get to know the average marks. So I would recommend that you should do at least 2 very easy with high cutoff marks and 2 papers which are very, very difficult. That would help you in adapting to such situations wherein if the paper is very easy, you would be able to attempt more, and if the paper is very difficult, you would be able to do it in a very limited way.
I want to add one thing. As Brijesh told us that and added on that reading part, that in how many sittings and in how many readings we have to complete the prelims question paper. I want to make that when you are doing the second or third attempt, you should make an educated guess, not a random guess. कि चलो इसका ये लगा देता हूँ, ये हो सकता है, word match कर रहे हैं कुछ नहीं. If you can make an educated guess based on your previous readings in your previous questions or in previous study material, then only you should go for that. Otherwise, you leave that question. Chances of getting negative will be higher if you are not making an educated guess. Thank you.
As all the panelists has said that we should attempt the question paper in 2 or 3 rounds. So there is a scientific reason for that. क्योंकि जो इनिशियल जो आपका पार्ट होता है उस वक्त आप बहुत स्ट्रेस में होते हैं, एंड व्हेन यू आर इन स्ट्रेस यू कैन नॉट टेक अ रैशनल डिसीजन. आपने देखा होगा कि एक क्वेश्चन का आंसर आप एग्जाम हॉल में गलत लिख के आते हैं और अगर आप घर पे वही क्वेश्चन को देखते हैं आप उसको सही लिखते हैं. इसीलिए ये सब ये कहते हैं कि पहले जो आप 25-30 क्वेश्चंस कर रहे हैं आप वो क्वेश्चंस करिए जो आपको बहुत अच्छे से आते हैं. ये क्या करेगा, आपका कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल को बूस्ट अप करेगा, आपको स्ट्रेस फ्री आपको फीलिंग्स आएगी और आप जो क्वेश्चंस को एनालाइज कर रहे हैं उसे रैशनली आप देख सकते हैं. और सेकंड थिंग, अगर आपको कभी भी आपको स्ट्रेस आता है तो सिर्फ 2 लाइनें आप याद करिएगा कि लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, लहरों से डरने वालों की नौका पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं होती. थैंक यू.
Okay, so that was a great conversation. To conclude, all the panelist members have told us about how to prepare for upcoming days and how should be your strategy. So I expect everyone listening to this video have got something to learn from that, and they are now going to be confident enough for their prelims preparation. Be confident, be prepared for your prelims. All the best. Thank you.